Ladies and gentlemen, this is Toy Customizer Wake Angel 2001, bringing to you my first official Transformer custom. Now, I wanted to do a fairly obscure character, one of which you wouldn't be able to find an official toy, and while googling female Transformers, I came across the very original, Nightbird. Yes, Nightbird. She was the very first female robot character introduced to the Transformers continuity way back in episode 25 of the original cartoon series, Enter the Nightbird. You should check it out. You can find it here on YouTube. Okay, basically, she was built by a Japanese scientist named Mr. Fujiyama and captured by the Decepticons and reprogrammed. And she was unbelievably badass. Seriously. Find that episode and watch it because she is just that awesome. Sadly, as awesome as she was only in that one episode, and so there never was an official Hasbro toy of her. That isn't to say that there are no toys of her. As you can see, there's a third-party developer, Impossible Toys, that has two. The one on the left is as G1 accurate as possible, and the one on the right is an RC recolor. The only problem is that either of these is going to run you in excess of $100. And I personally don't have that much to throw around for action figures, even if they are female robot ninjas, three of my favorite things combined into one. Though in my adventures on Google, I came across this awesome fan art done by Matthew S. Armstrong. I'm going to link to his DeviantArt gallery in the description. He's a really awesome artist, you should check him out, who did this picture of Nightbird in the Transformers animated style. And I thought, hey, that looks pretty darn feasible. I mean, she looks more or less like RC. And so I used an RC figure as the base. Now, step one, of course, is to murder the crap out of the toy. You take a screwdriver to her. You can remove 9 screws and get her down to this level. I tried to take her legs apart as well, but those are glued together. It's funny how the entire toy can be dismantled almost to the last nut, but except for the legs, which are the only part that have glue on them. Isn't that kind of weird? Well, the funny thing about RC is that every screw is exactly the same size. I figured I'd find long screws in some places and short screws in others, but no, all of them are the same, so it doesn't matter if you get them mixed up. Okay, now let's get into close-ups of how I did the transformation. Like most of my customs, I began with the head, and this is the only part of the toy that has any clay fabrication when I made her ninja mask. Now I gotta understand that this is a very tiny head. It's about half the size of the Sonic figures that I'm used to making. So, up close, the details are kind of difficult. Of course, there's a screw in the back of her head that lets you remove her faceplate, so you don't have to worry about accidentally messing up the transparent glue, so that keeps the light piping working. Next, I moved on to her Middrift, which I painted purple to match the G1, and I gave her that star-shaped belly button thing. I kind of like just having one, and plus it's really hard to paint them the size of this toy because it's so tiny in surface area. Now the purple and yellow parts around the midriff and belt are really one of the few places of this figure that has any different color. As you can see, once I reattach the upper body, her color scheme is predominantly gray with details picked out in black. It makes sense from a ninja standpoint because that's low-key and stealthy. I mean, if all ninjas ran around looking like Naruto, it would kind of defeat the purpose of being a ninja. So you can see the back, you can see right here she still has her Autobot tramp stamp that the original RC has. We'll address that later. Because first I have to reattach her limbs and backpods and stuff. Now as you can see with the RC's backpods, I repainted them with a black and gray scheme going on. I thought long and hard about the pattern to use. I went with this to keep it simple but still visually appealing. Then I gave her back her arms. As you can see, she has those sai on her forearms that the G1 had. These are made out of toothpicks, with the trident part being made out of clay. And here she is with both arms, but no legs. I decided to include this picture because she still kind of looks threatening, even without legs. Like, she'll crawl right up to you and bite your ankles off. And here is the payoff once I completed her legs. As you can see, she not only has legs, but if you look at her chest, I have also given her a Decepticon logo. And she is just freaking awesome. I have absolutely fallen in love with this figure I created. As you can see right here, I've replaced the tramp stamp with the Decepticon logo as well. And dear God, she is just so freaking cool. I mean, this is like the perfect robot ninja scheme I've come up with. The only drawback is, since I use acrylics and sealant spray, I wouldn't want to go through the risk of transforming her to vehicle mode, because that would risk ruining the paint job. However, she can still pose, and let's face it, when you look this cool, you don't need to transform. Also, Nightbird couldn't transform in the cartoon, so it's technically accurate! But now let's look at her accessory count. I mean, after all, what's a ninja without her weapons? I gave her a similar arsenal to what she featured in the cartoon. You see here, sheathed in her backpods are her nunchucks. I sized them the same as RC's swords, so they would sheathe into her backpods as easily as her swords would. And they fit in her hands, and she can wield them with both hands or with just one hand, and they look like they can totally beat the crap out of you, but they're actually harmless because they're made out of polymer clay, which is soft and rubbery. She also comes with a lightsaber! Yes, Nightbird had a lightsaber in the cartoon, and she nearly chopped off Optimus Prime's arm with it and stole his gun. Yeah, she stole Optimus's gun. Turns out that ninjas have a habit of taking a trophy from their battles. And she can wield both weapons at the same time. So she can beat the crap out of you with nunchucks and cut you up with a lightsaber. That's awesome. I didn't give her her quintillion shuriken that she also carried. And can't really quite show you all the cool karate she can use. But, you know, just watch the cartoon. You'll get to see that. So, let's conclude this with a nice little pin-up of RC and Nightbird getting ready to fight each other. I hope that you enjoyed looking at this figure as much as I enjoyed creating it, and as much as I enjoy displaying it on my shelf. Ah, yes. This has been Internet Personality Wake Angel 2001, bringing you Nightbird, the first female Transformer robot.